I will see you again, but not yet.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Arey, and we got to talk about Gladiator 2, a 20-year-in-the-making follow-up to one of the biggest Best Picture blockbusters of all time. And boy, did it not disappoint. I was very entertained.
Are you not entertained?
So we're going to break down the movie's ending, its connection to the original film, and its connection to the real-world history of the Roman Empire, which I must admit I think about all the time.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
And we're also going to discuss why making this sequel was a risky but brilliant move for Ridley Scott. And there's actually a connection between this Ridley Scott sequel and the most recent Alien film, Alien Romulus. And we have to talk about that Russell Crowe cameo in the final seconds of the film. You know, you can let us know what you thought of that in the comments or on our free-to-join Discord server. And by the way, later on, I have some very exciting new merch to show you that we designed for our merch store, as well as news about our live show. But like I said, I'll talk about that later on. So to start, I have to admit that this movie was way more of a sequel than we thought it would be.
What do you mean?
Well, I assumed that it wouldn't reference the first film as much as it did. I thought this film would act as a kind of quasi-remake that you could watch without having seen the original. And don't get me wrong, you can totally watch and enjoy this movie without having seen the first one. They did a great job of walking that tightrope of the movie being a direct sequel and serving as a standalone project. But the first film is referenced a lot, as is Maximus. And there are several flashbacks to the original movie, which I appreciated because at its core, this sequel is a love letter to the original. We are living in an era where nostalgia is all the rage when it comes to the TV and film industry. And don't be mistaken, this is a nostalgia trip, but it is done really well. And the movie is about legacy. Not only the legacy of Maximus, but the cause that he died for. The legacy of a gladiator mentality, of a hero mentality. And we see this mentality finally take hold at the end of the film when the spirit of Maximus and the cause he fought for is finally fulfilled by his son. And the vengeful and tyrannical view of Commodus, the twins, and even Macrinus is defeated. Now, here in a minute, we're going to talk about how this movie is really about Maximus versus Macrinus. But first, let's do a quick recap of exactly what happened in those 16 years between Gladiator 1 and 2. And actually, guys, I now have to take a break because it is time for our team workout. You ready?
Ready.
Kill me. Dude, what are you doing? We're supposed to work out together right now. We planned this as a team.
You guys, you go without me. I was at a holiday party last night and I over-celebrated.
Oh, I feel you, buddy. These days, all it takes is one drink for me to feel rough the next day. I just don't bounce back like I used to. Although I drank last night, and today, I feel fine.
But you just said...
Well, last night, before I started drinking, I took a Zbiotic. They're the sponsor of this video. Guys, Zbiotics is one of my all-time favorite sponsors that we work with. Before I have a family gathering, I stock up on this stuff and I pass it around like party favors.
Well, what is a Zbiotic?
Well, Zbiotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle those rough mornings after drinking. You see, guys, when you drink, alcohol gets converted into this toxic byproduct in the gut. Now, it's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. But of course, remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, always drink responsibly, and then get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Anytime I ever go out, I always take a Zbiotic with me, and especially with the holidays coming up, we've got family gatherings, office parties, friends in from out of town, and I want to be able to have a good time and still work out the next day instead of being stuck on the couch.
I feel like I'm stuck in a couch.
So guys, for this holiday season, I highly recommend you stock up on Zbiotics by going to zbiotics.com/ScreenCrush. You can also scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code ScreenCrush at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code, and believe me, you're going to want to stock up. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Just click that link below and you will not regret it. Look how many of these I've used already. Now, back to what I was saying. In the original Gladiator, Maximus rebuked the rule of Commodus, Commodus being the brother of Lucilla, who Maximus had an affair with in their youth. And as a result of that affair, young Lucius was born. When Maximus rises up against Commodus and slays the emperor, Maximus too succumbs to his wounds and dies. And with Maximus dying, he's now not there to protect Lucius from the coming threats. With Commodus dead, Lucius is the heir to the throne, but he's just a child. And his mother fears that those who seek the throne will kill her son with ease. So she sends young Lucius away. But Lucius is forced to go even further into hiding and join a new group because bad actors keep showing up looking to kill him. So as Lucius is away, he is growing up to become the gladiator that would finish the mission of his father before him, the mission of freeing Rome. But during that time, these goobers became the co-emperors of Rome. Okay, so Dumb and Dumber, Geta and Caracalla, are loose adaptations of real Roman emperors. But these two fictitious adaptations are even more reminiscent of Romulus and Remus, the mythical founders of the Roman Empire. Remember, Romulus and Remus, it was said, were raised by wolves. Here at the gates of Rome, we can see the Romulus symbol featuring the twin human boys feeding on the teat of a wolf, the same symbol that we saw in Alien Romulus aboard the Romulus ship, seemingly confirming that, like Colton and Doug, Ridley Scott spends a lot of time thinking about the Roman Empire. These twins brilliantly represent an even more sadistic and unserious version of the future of Rome that would unfold under the rule of a guy like Commodus, and they show exactly the future that Lucilla feared, and that's why she sent Lucius away all those years ago. These type of men were the type of evil that she knew would rise, and the twins' incompetence is on full display when a character like Macrinus was able to infiltrate and deceive them from within, and with great ease comes this close to taking the throne. So, as we learn, Macrinus was on a warpath set on revenge, just like Maximus in the first film and just like Lucius in this film. The main difference being that Maximus and Lucius wanted revenge for the people they loved being taken from them. Maximus's wife and son were brutally murdered at the Emperor's command, and Lucius's wife was murdered at the twins' command. Maximus and Lucius wanted revenge on behalf of others. Macrinus, however, wanted revenge on behalf of himself. That selfish nature of Macrinus versus the selfless nature of Maximus and Lucius was the prime reason characters like Commodus, the twins, and Macrinus failed, and why Maximus and Lucius were able to triumph. Now, I have to admit, I didn't see Denzel's villain turn coming, but when it happens, it's so obvious that that's what the story was leading to. When Macrinus finds Lucius and learns about his thirst for revenge against Marcus, he promises him his head. He promises him revenge. And when Lucius decides to spare Marcus, that's the moment that Macrinus and Lucius diverge as revenge seekers. Macrinus doesn't understand why Lucius would spare the man who ordered the death of his wife. Up until this point, Macrinus admired Lucius and his strength, his will to survive, and it's clear that Macrinus saw himself in Lucius, becoming a kind of proxy father figure for this man who had lost his father. But when Lucius spares Marcus, Macrinus views this as a weakness, and this is what gives him that final push to betray Lucius. And hey, I am so excited to show you guys our brand new holiday merch drops. We have been working so hard on these designs for you guys, and I'm so stoked to show them off. We have this awesome new Doom parody shirt, the I Hate You 3000, plus Tony as a god granting life to Ultron, and a parody of the Sistine Chapel ceiling. We also have Marty McFly in Cloud City, a parody of this.
My name is Darth Vader.
Also, evil will always triumph because good is dumb, Grogu booping a Raincor's face, and this awesome Loki gator coming out of the toilet. Guys, we love designing this kind of merch for you, and shopping our store is the best way to directly support our channel. And if you really like these designs, we are about to add a ton more. So subscribe to our merch store newsletter so you get early access to our new holiday products and deals. Now, back to Gladiator. So Macrinus was marked with the brand just like Lucius, but under Lucius's grandfather, Emperor Aurelius. Now, there is an argument to be made that there's hypocrisy with Maximus, Lucilla, and Lucius admiring Aurelius, when Aurelius himself was branding people just like the twins do. But it's also hypocritical for Macrinus, who wears a brand, to use a branded gladiator as a slave warrior for his own personal gains. Characters like Commodus and Macrinus are different from characters like Maximus, Lucius, Lucilla, and Marcus is because of this theme of revenge versus mercy. When Maximus was presented with the opportunity to kill Commodus, he granted him mercy. He spared his life.
Yeah, but didn't he stab him in the throat?
Yes, but that was only after he spared him, and Commodus took advantage of that mercy. This is also paralleled with Lucius sparing Marcus, whereas Macrinus didn't believe in mercy, and that is what led to his downfall. He was never going to be able to unite Rome. He was damned from the beginning, just like those tyrannical rulers before him. Lucius, on the other hand, was destined not only by bloodline to lead Rome, but his merciful mentality is what makes him a great leader. His mercy is what gave him the ability to stop these two armies from annihilating one another in the end. But before that, we get to see this awesome fight between Lucius and Macrinus, a fight that represented the movie's theme of mercy versus revenge. Sure, you could argue that Lucius fell victim to revenge by killing Macrinus, but we also know that Macrinus would have never surrendered. And by killing Macrinus, Lucius was sparing Rome from yet another tyrant taking over. He was also sparing the lives of the two armies that watched on. And I loved how this duel took place in the water. The film begins with Lucius falling into the water and entering the afterlife like his father before him. And in this afterlife, he sees his wife being taken away via ferry, which is a belief going back to Greek mythology where Charon the ferryman would escort dead across the river Styx into the afterlife. Now, the question of whether or not this actually happened or was something that happened in Lucius's head is irrelevant, because either way, it symbolizes that theme of mercy. Lucius was spared and allowed to return to the world of the living, and in he and Macrinus's final battle, as they make their way into the water, they are actually making their way into the afterlife. They are accepting death. Lucius is once again submerged in water as Macrinus takes stab after stab to kill him. And what protects him? his father's armor. Maximus's armor protecting Lucius while he was underwater, catching Macrinus's blade with every plunge, represented Maximus in the afterlife protecting his son. And when Lucius was once again able to emerge from the water, escaping death, he sends Macrinus back into the afterlife. Macrinus sinks into the water and is taken by death. Lucius is then finally able to finish the mission of his father from all those years ago and bring peace to Rome, albeit temporarily.
What do you mean temporarily?
Well, buddy, I mean, we all know that Rome falls.
What? Spoiler alert.
Sorry. Read a book. So, now we need to talk about that Russell Crowe cameo at the very end. The filmmakers could have fallen victim to the memberberry plague and had Russell Crowe return as a ghost to talk to his son at a vision or something. But I'm so glad that they were able to contain themselves and just give us a vague wink and a nod to old Maximus. In the original film, after Maximus dies, he is reunited with his family in the afterlife, and we see him walking through the fields of Elysium, a reference to a line from earlier in the film.
You find yourself alone, riding in green fields with the sun on your face. Do not be troubled, for you are in Elysium.
So Lucius returns to his mother and father's place of death, that notorious battle arena. And when he sticks his hands in the dirt, just like his father before him, and we hear him ask Maximus to speak for him. And then we see the hand of Maximus gliding through those fields of Elysium, just like we saw in the final scene of the first film. I honestly couldn't think of a better way to end the movie. It was just, chef's kiss. And guys, making this sequel was a pretty bold move. And don't get me wrong, it is another blatant example of Hollywood trying to exploit IP that they already own, but they did it with Ridley Scott, which is the only blessing that I needed to be open to continuing this story. In a lot of ways, this film felt like Scott's second chance in an era of more advanced technology to make the movie that he wanted to make the first time around. Despite it being yet another sequel in the era of sequels, reboots, and remakes, something about it still felt original. And I think that this is the exact kind of movie the industry needed to get audiences excited to go to the theater again. So special shout out to Colton Ogburn for writing this video, and of course we want to know what you guys think about the hill turn down in the comments, or you can join our free Discord where we have a ton of fun nerding out together about different things happening in Marvel and Star Wars, and we always have news about our upcoming live shows. We're in Washington, D.C. and Chicago next month, and we're looking forward to meeting you guys, nerding out, and together we are going to create a brand new ScreenCrush video. But we want to know what you guys think. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, or you can at me on X, Blue Sky, or Threads. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.